Hi, I'm Sarah Batchelor, and I'm a teacher here in the province of Alberta. I've been teaching for 25 years, and in that quarter of a century, some things have changed in education, imagine that. And one of the ones I've seen the biggest change to is inclusion. Now, let me be very, very clear. I totally believe in full inclusion. I think that as somebody myself with autism, and my own children have different diagnoses, I teach kids with different diagnoses every day, and they all belong in the same classroom, I believe. But the way we're doing inclusion right now isn't working in Alberta. It's not working for the kids, it's not working for the families, and it's not working for the teachers. So what we have now is called full inclusion, but to understand how we got here, we need to rewind. So in the late 2000s, Alberta launched an initiative called Setting the Direction, which led to something called Action on Inclusion. This was a massive shift. We moved away from having separate segregated classrooms and programs for students with disabilities and moving them into the regular classroom. The goal was to bring all students together in the same learning environments and to make classrooms more equitable and welcoming. And this is a beautiful idea when it's done right. Unfortunately, the funding model undermines all of that. Before we did this shift, funding followed the student, right? If a child had a specific diagnosis, the school could access targeted supports like trained EAs, speech therapists, occupational therapists, pull-out programming. Now, funding is what we call block funded. It's based on community demographics, not individual needs. Schools get a general pot of money and are expected to stretch it across every student who might need extra support. And while that sounds efficient on paper, in reality, it's a cost-saving measure dressed up as inclusion language. It's not. One perfect example is our program unit funding, or PUF, which many people might be familiar with. This is to support our youngest students with disabilities. It's been significantly cut to begin with, making early intervention harder and delaying support for some of our more vulnerable learners. So what does inclusion look like in 2025? What does it really look like on the ground? Well, it looks like a single teacher trying to support a student who's nonverbal, another recovering from trauma after fleeing war. Actually, I have 3 kids who would fall into that category this past year. One who needs a full-time EA but doesn't have one. And then 30 other students all at once. I've taught classes where the reading levels range from grade 2 to university prep, all in the same room. That kind of spread can be supported, but only when we're given the tools and the staff to do it. We used to have special education coordinators, and their job was to help write the IPPs. Now that's a teacher's responsibility. We still have spec ed coordinators, but the job has changed so much that it doesn't actually support the teachers. They're basically just putting out fires and trying to keep the kids as funded as they can, right? Accommodation should never be an afterthought. And they often are, not because teachers don't care, but because we're overwhelmed, right? There's a real human cost to unsupported inclusion. There's consequences, not just for the students, but for teachers too. We're seeing a rise in burnout. More teachers are going on medical leave than ever before. Others are simply walking away from the profession entirely. Why? Well, because the way we're doing inclusion feels like abandonment because we don't have the supports in place. And here's the most painful part. When you're busy trying to manage high needs without help, the middle kids, the ones just quietly trying to get by, they get nothing. I lose sleep over that because honestly, parents, I want to support all of my students, and I'm doing the best I can, but there's gaps, and I carry that guilt. It's summer, and I'm making these videos. Clearly, I'm carrying this guilt, right? We don't have the power to fix this on their own. So we want to call you to action. Inclusion can only work when the systems support it. So we need to restore student-based funding for complex needs and get away from this block funding. We need to hire more educational assistants. We need to give teachers training and time to actually do the tasks so they can support IPPs. And because right now, what we're doing isn't fair to the kids or to the people who care for them every single day. It's really awful. Inclusion isn't just about putting everyone in the same room. It's about making sure they all actually belong once they're there. And if you want to help, please write your MLA, demand support, because our students deserve better, and so do we. Thank you.